So you always have to read into things. And imagine if you're locked in a jail cell or a prison cell that you cannot get out of. And there's a lot of you, and they're making you to do sex acts. And if you don't do the work, you can't get out. And imagine you got past asking for a Bible and you asked for a Quran, and you are being held by federal marshals. And they're telling you to all which means everyone get on their knees, open their mouth as wide as they can and say, ah. Imagine the Pope with the Vienna Boys Choir, or any of his cardinals with any of their choirs, or any of the archbishops or the archdioceses, or the royal arch under which the Freemasons fall, or their Daughters of the Eastern Star. Imagine them all lining up the people and saying to the boys, get on your knees and open your mouths, and all say, ah. And then they go down the line and put their penis in each person's mouth. And that's how they train sex slaves. And in Surah 14, section 3, it says here in English, this Quran version, as translated by Abdullah Yusuf Ali, and this is the same Quran in which Surah 12 of Yusuf changed and King Aziz was added to the Quran, and that was on the 27th of February, and I'm the one in charge. Me, Nathaniel Shelhays Vizdos. There's a lot of people involved and a lot of angels from heaven. And this is Surah 14, section 3, line 21. They will all be marshaled before Allah together. Then will the weak say to those who are arrogant, because when you go into incarceration, you're very strong and some are already weak. But after they keep you locked up, you all become weak. I've been locked up for 4 months in Fairfax County Adult Detention Center, where it's run by deputies. But the federal prisons are run by marshals. Let me start again. They will all be marshaled before Allah together. Then will the weak say to those who are arrogant, for us, we but followed you. Can ye then avail us all against the wrath of Allah? They will reply, if we had received the guidance of Allah, or Allah, we should have been given it to you. To us it makes no difference now whether we rage or bear these torments with patience. For ourselves, there is no way of escape. This means that people realize they're helpless once they're incarcerated. You cannot escape, and you have to do what they say. And if they tell you to get on your knees, open your mouth and say, ah. Or a group of you to open your mouth and say, ah. You're probably in a place where you may never get out alive. I never ended up in that situation, but a lot of people have. If you use the word of God to destroy human beings, to destroy families, to destroy cultures, or to destroy yourself or those around you, you are evil. You're not really a person at all. You don't believe in God. You believe in making money, having people be your servants or slaves, and by any means necessary, including using drugs and police incarceration to create a society where there are sex slaves. Some are started as children, some are forced into it as adults using prisons and drugs and doctors and judges and lawyers and businessmen and restaurant owners in your communities who will drug you without your knowledge, and people walking around putting aerosol drugs either directly on one person or in multiple buildings, or in buildings where the ductwork has been redone so that the air only goes into one room within a building. You can drug a specific room or a specific employee, or if it's a public service office, you can have someone go and sit in that room to wait to receive a contact or a phone call, or use the room for their electricity or their computer, yet they put you in that room to drug you. So when you read the word of God and you get dismayed, disgruntled, or deceived, or you think crazy thoughts about it, feel free to think freely with liberty. Feel free to read books from other religions, even if your mentor, your deacon, your priest, your reverend, your pastor, your imam, your rabbi, your other spiritual leader, your Buddhist priest, or whoever teaches you or is your leader, if they tell you never to read another book from another religion, or to read your book that you read for your religion in another language, if they discourage this, they are not a man or a woman of God. They are a disciple of evil. They are evil people. And in the United States, we have a system, a judicial system, and a legislative system that oftentimes incarcerates evil people. While they're incarcerated, they learn all the hand signals, the verbal signals, the vocal signals, and the physical object symbols. There's objects in the community. You can take sticks or strings and put symbols in your community. When people do this in the mountains, it's called trailblazing. When you leave signs on trees or on the ground or on the rocks, when you leave these symbols to show people which way to go. In the cities, they use human beings to show people which way to go. I'm a person alone. I'm showing you which way to go. Your choice now is, what do you do as a person? What do you do as an individual? Do you let the powers keep you a slave? Do you find your way to freedom? Do you save yourself? Do you even pray? Do you even know how to read? The first step, if you know nothing, that most sacred thing that was prevented amongst people, the ability to read. Learn how to read. If you learn how to read, you can save your own life. If you are scared, we understand. If you don't know what to do, I feel you. And guess what? Really what you have to do is get on your knees, put your face on the ground, and ask God to help you by any language, any name, and any religion. At the very root of the international music scene created by the United States of America and the MTV family, or the MTV culture, part of that design was to be able to traffic children around the world. They're called groupies. A lot of people think it's just women, but it's young men too. They can be seen as part of the road crew or just hanging out with the band. And what better way to do it than to make your musicians freaks on the scene? You know, pink hair, purple hair, mohawks, spikes, big gold chains, crazy attitudes, sunglasses and weird styles and weird brands and weird hats, and a lot of shit that would offend most people or scare most people. And so when I look at the heart and the beginning of punk, people know that the Sex Pistols were a show band. They weren't really doing their own thing. They were a show band, and they did it to get paid and to get out of poverty in England. But you have to keep going and look at the Exploited with Waddy. The Exploited, Punk's Not Dead. The Exploited. Are they talking about children being trafficked around the world? Why am I now blocked by certain punk rock bands when I try and tag them? It's kind of like I'm blocked by certain government agencies when I try to tag them. It's because they don't want their people to get into the algorithms and logarithms of being tagged in my posts. Yet I returned to Washington, D.C. to eliminate evil from planet Earth. That means murderers have to go. That means sex criminals have to go. And that means slavers have to go. And part of the work of the slavers is to pimp
people out and to drug people without their knowledge. They use restaurants to do it. They use people to do it. They use institutions to do it. And they use trap areas to do it. Like homeless shelters or places that feed the homeless or prisons or psych wards or jails. Did you know that jails are for the long term and prison is for the short term? So now what I'm going to do, the exploited what? Are you talking about exploited children? So now you are the monikers for punk rock, metal, hardcore, because hardcore goes across all genres. You've got country, rap, go-go, metal, punk rock, hardcore. And I do this for the band Terror, who are the keepers of the faith. Keepers of the faith, I will defend your name, the name of God, the name of justice, our King Jesus in heaven. Keepers of the faith. Is punk rock being evil? No, it's not. Have they made it popular to be evil, the powers that be? Yes, they have. Now the question is, who's going to stand up and stop it? If you were involved in all those cruise ships that have all the concerts on them, didn't you hear they threw a few of those sex workers overboard and made videos? And anyone who gets out of line, they'll show them the videos of them throwing their sex workers over the side of the boat. That's what they used to do in the Middle Passage. That's that line directly from Africa over to the Caribbean and to the top of South America. Did you know that most slaves went to Central and South America, not the United States? Did you know that during that whole slave time, that it was popularized, publicized, and legalized here in the United States for the world to see? However, most slaves went to the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. Now, Wadi, I'm going to tag the exploited, and you either stand with me or you stand with them bitch-ass punks and metalheads and hip-hops who've been trafficking children so they can make their careers and their money. And they did the evil thing by going and spreading their sperm and having children everywhere who they don't take care of. Sounds a lot like the U.S. military, the United States military. And I don't mean the new progressive military people who want to fix the world and heal the planet and use the military for good. I mean the evil, shadowed, secret society within the military that's evil. I'm here to end your world. And I'm going to use all the people who want to help. So choose your sides: metal, punk, hardcore, hip-hop, country music, country and western, blues and jazz, and everything in between, techno. Do you want to traffic children? Do you want to keep giving them all fake IDs and moving them around the planet to create slave populations for the world? Did you sell the fuck out? And all I'm doing is waiting. And maybe, with the good grace of God, I will change the planet alone, and you all will join me. So what I did is I went to another congressperson's office and got tickets to get in. So now I gotta wait in line here outside the Capitol Dome. Go inside. I can go watch the Congress if I want. Then you got people standing around who ain't even part of the government, smiling at people wearing earpieces, pretending they work for the government and the feds, but they're not. Like this clown here with the overcoat. He got an earpiece in, a little curly wire coming out of his ear, wearing an overcoat, pretending he's somebody, but he ain't.
I don't know.
He's not really government.
Are you in line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Him right there. He's not really government, but he's pretending to be. I'm in line, y'all. There's a line. Y'all can wait for it. That guy right there ain't government, but he's pretending to be. And so this guy's walking up and down the line acting like he's government, purveying the situation, but he's not. He's a pedestrian pretending to be a G-man. And then all these people try and cut in front of me in line, which means they probably work with his dumbass team too. Oh well, at least the police like me and the fucking real government, and the real people want to save this nation rather than fuck us all in the ass. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. They just Freemason families that get to freeload while the rest of us work to pay taxes, that's all.